Gurura Brahma, Gurura Vishnu, Gurudeva Maheshwara, Gurura Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurudeva Namah. श्री दयाका सागर श्री सतपालजी महाराज र यहाँ उपस्थित हुनुभएका मेरा दाजुभाइ दिदी बहिनीलाई मेरा आन्तरिक हृदयदेखि जय श्री सचिदानन्द तथा प्रणाम छ। र प्रिभियसली पनि मलाई एक सत्सङ मिलेको थियो, यशोदा दिदीले पनि मलाई दिलाइदिनु भयो, यहाँको होस्ट एन्ड प्लस नम्रता दिदीलाई पनि म एकदमै आभारी व्यक्त गर्न चाहन्छु कि एउटा अपर्च्युनिटी मिल्यो for me to come up here and say a satsang. Previously, I've said a satsang about dopamine detox. It was a satsang to show everybody how concentration could be achieved and how we can let go of such distracting things such as our phone, or just the distracting things of our life. I've shown a perspective, Junmachi, I showed that it's very dangerous for us to continue to be using social media without our authorization and our control over the mind. I want to give a different perspective towards this same reality, and I want to say it in a different way. My experience myself, I got teased a lot for not being able to concentrate. They did distracted, but I wouldn't ever be able to concentrate on something for a long time. So I got teased by my friends, my peers, and even my family members on why I cannot concentrate. So this was, of course, before I came upon the knowledge of meditation and how it can help us be in a concentrative state and really help our concentration even grow furthermore. But I was never taught, and we, as this group right here, everybody who's in this Zoom call, nobody has ever been taught to concentrate, and we don't even practice much. If you really look at your daily lives, and even your past life when you were at school or anywhere, have you ever been taught to concentrate, on how to concentrate? No, you've always been told to concentrate by your parents, by your teachers. Always, they tell you, you got to concentrate, but we've never really been taught how to concentrate itself. So how can you expect somebody to know something so well and to achieve it so well without them even knowing what it is, without them even knowing how to actually be taught and how to actually themselves concentrate? So I really question this a lot, mainly because our parents who always tell their children, you have to concentrate on a certain thing, you have to have a certain, you have to study for a certain amount of time, but they were never taught how to do that. And I just want to say that we practice being distracted 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. Let's say if I wanted to play soccer, moke soccer, or even in studying, in an exam, or even in any other sports, if I want to do well at it, I have to practice quite significant amount of time. If I go to that sport, let's say they will tell me you have to practice. So I'll say, if I'm going to practice over 8 hours a day for 7 days a week, would I be able to achieve my concentration? Then they're going to probably say, no, you have to at least practice that sport for 1 year. Then after 1 year, would I be able to play like high league sports? No, you have to practice more than that. Just like that, we have been practicing distracting ourselves 16 hours a day. Most people sleep around 17 hours, and the entire 16 hours, all we do is get distracted. So we have practiced so much at being distracted and so less at being concentrated. So how, in any way, this is the simple law of practice. How could you be better at concentrating if you practiced being distracted for so long? So that's why I made up a thing where it said that once it becomes a habitual process, meaning if you get distracted all the time, our phones giving us notifications, giving us social media apps to always entertain ourselves in, it has taught us to be distracted for so long. So that's why we have made it a habit to be easily distracted, to not be able to concentrate in anything. So I actually talked with a monk before, not like actually one-on-one, but I've had in a talk show that I've seen many monks before. They put it as this: how can you have that unwavering concentration? And then most people blame it on technology. They go like, oh, I have my phone, I have my laptop with me, so I can't get concentrated. It distracts me a lot and everything. But if you guys don't know this, most monks, when you become a monk, you have to let go of everything. You have to let go of all your attachments. You have to let go of your house or whatever it is in, or your wealth, your money, and your social life. You have to let go. You have to sacrifice those things when you want to become a monk. But as soon as you go to the monk traditional monastery, they're going to give you a MacBook Pro laptop. Right on the first day, they're going to give you a MacBook Pro, and you're a monk, and they're going to give you a couple of robes. So you have to sacrifice everything except technology. Why? Because technology is actually beautiful. It provides us so many information, so many things that we can actually learn from. So why is it that we blame our technology? Is because we want to blame something. We're guilty of ourselves not being concentrative or not practicing concentration. So we blame technology, which is not it at all. So as I speak about monks, they have given us a formation. They've given us a some way to understand this is, imagine your awareness is a ball of light, and your mind is a big table. It's a big spatial area where you can put anything in. And if you want to concentrate, you're gonna have to be able to distinct these two things. You're gonna have to separate them. You're gonna have to define them. So your mind is a spatial thing where you can place anything in. It's a table, and your awareness is this ball of light. So you know how people say the mind is always my mind is always roaming around. Well, that's not actually true, because your mind is not roaming. It's your awareness that's roaming within your mind. So it's a ball of light. Your awareness is a ball of light, and a mind is a whole table it's filled with human stuff, human behavior like anger, jealousy, anger, all these stuff that you would like to call human behavior. They're in this table, and your awareness is a light bulb that goes around and it lights that entire place up. So whatever you put your awareness in, it's what your mind is going to be actually thinking. It's going to be what your mind is actually aware of. That's why I say that we have to learn how to control this awareness, not your mind, but your awareness. What are you aware towards? Even being boring is having, even being bored, like having a boring day, is lack of awareness. It's not actually you being bored or having nothing to do. So you really have to control this ball of light, which we call awareness, and you have to really look at what are we aware of. You should be more aware of things that you're progressive about, or things that are actually deteriorating your habit. That's why you really have to be careful where you put this awareness at, and where you uh, really concentrate at. That's why it's like a movie. I wanted to give you an example about this theory. It's like a movie. So when you're at a movie, you're watching whatever movie it is. If the director is good of that movie, if the movie is very interesting, then they're gonna catch that awareness, which is your ball of light, and it's gonna take you around. On as the movie is going, you're gonna feel suspenseful sometimes. You're gonna feel sad sometimes. You're gonna feel a little happy sometimes, because that director, that movie, is actually controlling that awareness that you have, and that light bulb is going around the spatial area, which is your mind. So that's why when you're watching a movie, sometimes you feel sad, sometimes you feel happy, sometimes you're in a suspenseful mood, and sometimes you're waiting for what's going to happen next, because that director, that movie, is controlling your ball of light. That's why while we are studying, while we are doing anything as well, we should be very, very, very careful on where we place that ball of light. You can really practice this by studying every day. Study for 5 minutes, study for 10 minutes the next day, and as that goes, you can increase your time, and you can really focus on where you're putting that ball of light. Like, meditation is where your energy is flowing. You should really uh, work on meditation as well, because it's where your energy is flowing. And while if you're aware of where that energy is flowing, you can really control that ball of light, which is awareness, on where it is at your mind. So that's why I always say to most of our youths and most of our people, uh, don't be so contingent, don't be so forceful towards trying to conquer the mind, because it will do the exact opposite. If I were to tell you, don't think of an apple, what are you going to think of the first thing? An apple. It is always going against you. It is going to do whatever it takes to not let you control it. It's very, let's say, forceful. So never, ever when you're trying to conquer your mind, when you're trying to conquer concentration, when you're trying to get concentrated, always go with where the mind flows. So if you're meditating as well, I've come up with this very, very good trick that I use in my meditation as well. Is when I start to meditate, I don't go into meditation thinking that I'm not going to think of anything. I'm going to try to really put up manlai ekakrit garchu. I'm going to try to put my mind into one place, and it never happens. It always happens. Everything is always the opposite. You always want to think about something else. You always want to do something else. That's why I always say, focus your mind on saying, you know what, I'm gonna think today. म आज सोध्छु मेडिटेसन बसेको बेलामा when I'm ध्यान बसेको बेलामा म सोध्छु जति सोच्न सक्छु I'm gonna think, and your mind is not gonna think. It's gonna do the exact opposite. And I really learned this trick on me myself as well. As I got experienced in meditation, I was having hard time putting my mind in one place, putting my focus in one place, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do exactly what the mind says. I'm gonna roam. I'm gonna think of stuff, and it's gonna not do that. It's going to put you in one place. Because as we say, the mind is kind of like a house, you know, our mind. And the windows are your essential things, your essential parts, like your mouth, your nose, your eyes, your vision, your eyes, and your ears, the sound that you're listening to. That's why outside those windows are your panorama of life, how your daily life goes, how you go on with your day. That's why when you're meditating, you should always try to close these windows. When you're meditating, close the window of your mouth. Your mind is gonna say, I cannot speak now. If you close the window of your vision, your eyes, then it's gonna say, I cannot see now. And if you let go of all the distraction of sound that is coming towards your ear, then your mind is gonna say, I cannot hear. Then it's gonna say, I cannot speak, I cannot see, I cannot hear. And then your mind is at one place. You should always try to close these windows. And your mind is just like a house. If it sees something out of that window, it's gonna go at it. It's gonna want to get distracted, but you have to close those windows. It's up to you. You cannot blame technology or something else. Technology might be a bad thing on that, but you could use technology to a level. If you rule your mind over the technology, then you're gonna be using technology for useful stuff. But if the technology is ruling over you, then you're gonna be very, very deteriorating your process. That's why I always say, put awareness in your number one place, what you want to rule. Awareness should always be one thing that you always want to focus on. You always want to use it for your benefit, for your perspective, mainly because you're going to lose this awareness. You're going to lose today. You're going to waste tomorrow. You're going to waste the day after that. And time is just going to keep on going. Time is not refundable. You cannot get your time back. त्यही कारणले सजनबिन जुनसुकै तपाईँहरू नेपाली बोल्नुहुन्छ, I'm very sorry, I'm not much of a hybrid speaker. Youthहरू हामी mostly we speak in English, we speak in many other languages as well, so that's why it's very hard for us to connect with our elders and our older people. That's why I always try to mix my satsang as well, but I wanted to make it strictly English this time, mainly because I could really I could really be passionate if I speak in English, because it is something that I know a lot better than Nepali. But सबैजनालाई एकदमै धन्यवाद. And actually before I finish my satsang, मेरो दुई शब्दलाई यहाँ टुङ्गाउनु भन्दा अगाडि मैले I'm a writer as well. मैले केही लेखेको थिएँ about भगवानको बारेमा. मैले केही आफ्नो I'm a writer as well, so मेरो आफ्नो शब्दहरू केहीमा हालेको छु. So please सुनिदिनु होला. But चञ्चल मनलाई स्थिर बनाउन गए खोज्न ती भगवान जुन बाहिर थिए, ती चित्रको जालमा फसिएका भगवान, ती हजारौं पानाको छापमा उनको चित्त सयौं साल अगाडि लेखिएका भगवान, ती संसारिक मायाको हातले बनिएका मूर्तिमा बिना सासका भगवान, ती चारभित्रका जेलमा सडिरहेका भगवान, ती पैसाको लालचमा बनिएका भगवान, चरणको छेउ हजारौं पैसाका तिर्खमा रमाउँदै गरेका भगवान. तब थाहा भयो कि भगवान बाहिर हैन, भित्र हुने गर्छन्. ती निस्वार्थ मन भरेका भगवान, सबैको सासमा रमिँदै गरेका भगवान, आफूभित्र बस्ने भगवान. त्यही भएर प्रेमी सजनबिन, आफूभित्र हेर्नु होला. Please look for God within you. The temple of God is within you. Please look for anything within you. Stop looking for outwardly happiness. मेरो दुई शब्दलाई यहीँ टुङ्ग्याउन चाहन्छु. मदेखि केही भुलहरू केही भयो भने, केही बोल्नको शब्दहरुमा भुल भयो भने मलाई प्लिज माफी दिनु होला, एक बालक सम्झेर। बालक नै हो सबै तपाईहरु सबैको लागि त, तर पनि प्लिज त्यसै भन्दै मेरो यो दुई शब्द यही टुङ्गाउन चाहन्छु। प्रेमले बोली श्री सत्यदेव महाराज की जय।